Hi guys and welcome to Horologique. Today we will talk about a very special watch, the J&G Academic, and this is the ice blue version. First of all, big thanks to James and Gary for having sent this watch in for review. I must say guys that when I unpacked this watch I was impressed, especially by the quality of the case, by the shapes and by the overall quality of it. I get to review many watches on my channel, but I was truly impressed, but we'll get into that later. First of all, if you do not know the channel, we review affordable watches here, mostly below the $300 to $400 bar, but always of the very best quality, so this one fits in perfectly. First of all, you must know that this is not their first try. They designed the Exciton, a diver watch that I had the pleasure of buying about 2 years ago, I believe. Then there was the Exciton 2, and then there is this one. And let me tell you that I believe they took a risk by doing a dress watch. Everybody's going for sports watches. These watches are not yet available for purchase, but you can back the project on Kickstarter. And the cost for backing this project is £300 for the lacquer dial versions and £320 for the Sunburst dial versions, such as this one. The campaign will end at the end of May, so if this watch interests you, you have until that date to back it up. It is limited to 300 units, and they can pretty much choose any color they want as long as they remain on those 300. They will be numbered, so that is a pretty good thing. But once they hit that target, they will just stop and they will not take more orders. Enough about that, let's get to the watch itself. This is the prototype of the watch. There's going to be some changes for the production models. You'll have no drilled lugs, which is a good decision according to me, as it does not break the flow of this beautiful case. And on the back of the watch you will just see a lowercase b on design by JF. You've got a diameter of 37.8. It does say 38, but I do measure it at a little bit less, which is wonderful. You have a height of 9.9 millimeters. They do say 10, but 9.9 is just a hair underneath that. You have a lug-to-lug of 45.9 millimeters and a lug width of 20. The dial itself will have the same layout on all of the 10 versions. You have Roman numerals at every cardinal point, and then you have battens at the rest of the hours, and they are all pretty highly and elegantly applied. At the peripheries of the dial you've got a rail track, which adds to the classicism of this timepiece along with the Roman numerals. On the top part of the dial you've got the J&G logo, so James and Gary. In the bottom part of the dial you've got Academic. In this ice blue version you've got a very nice Sunburst dial, which plays with the light very much. If you don't like that, there's always the lacquer dials. As we're talking about dials, let's talk about the different versions. For the 3 lacquered versions you've got the black, you've got the white, and you've got the pink. For the Sunburst version you've got a yellow, you've got a very nice salmon, you've got a red, you've got a green, you've got a grey, you've got a dark blue, and you've got this ice blue. Protecting that dial you've got a flat sapphire crystal. The hands of this watch are dolphin hands, and they are slightly beveled on their sides, so the hands actually have 3 sides, which is nice and cool. Pretty subtle as well. Let's talk about one of the highlights of this watch, which is that beautiful case. It is quite detailed for a watch at this price point. The rounded bezel is polished, the top of the lugs are vertically brushed, the brushing is very finely done. Separating the front of the lugs from the sides of the lugs, you've got a pretty substantial chamfer, which is polished. When you check the sides of the watch, you can see that there is a clear separation between the lugs and the rest of the case. That adds some extra complexity to the case, which is very welcome in a world of pretty plain designs. Talking about lugs, you've got something that only watch lovers can put into a watch. That is 2 spring bar locations. And that is very useful. All of us have experienced those straps that are just too thick and will not fit on a watch, or will fit but will get damaged. And that is very nice attention to detail. Very well thought about, guys. The water resistance of this watch is only 30 meters, which is okay for a dress watch. I prefer that they keep it slim. The crown is signed J&G. It is not a screw-down crown, only a pull-push crown, which is normal for a dress watch. If you flip the watch, you will see the transparent caseback, showcasing that very nice Miyota 9039. You do not have a screw-down case. The caseback is rather screwed with screws, and the transparent caseback is made out of sapphire as well, which is a pretty cool choice. At this price point you usually have mineral crystal. So let's talk about this movement. This is a Miyota 9 series, so 28,800 beats per hour, roughly 42 hours of power reserve. It winds only in one direction, which means that you will have a bit of noise and wobble. You will not feel it that much. I haven't, at least. If you're sensitive to that, it is important for you to note it. The version of this movement does not have a date wheel, so you will have no ghost date position. That is very, very good. Some of the plates of the movement are decorated. Usually these Miyotas perform quite well. In fact, let's see how this one performs on the time grapher. As you can see, fairly good results from this Miyota within cost actually, +4 to +6, a great result. These Miyotas seldom disappoint. Let's talk about what is for me another highlight of this watch, and it's the strap. The strap is a Vario strap, so made out of Italian leather, and it is supple, it is nice, and it is not noisy at all. It is a very nice strap with a very cool leather pattern. In this case it's blue, but it will match most of the dial colors. Just a fine strap. I've been mostly talking about the positive points of this watch. Let's talk about the negatives as well. One thing that can be considered a negative, this is a dress watch. That is not something that everybody jumps into right away. In this day and age, people prefer sports watches, divers, or integrated bracelet watches. So this was pretty daring on the part of James and Gary, but at least it is original. And you will not have straightforward negative points to this watch, but you will have points that are positive, but that can be negative as well. There's the water resistance, only 30 meters. I would have liked 50, if not 100. I do understand about the fact to keep it thin. I prefer it to be thin than to be really water resistant. I wish we could have it all. Another positive point, which can also be seen as a negative, that movement. It is amazing and I'm glad they used that movement, but you've got that wobble that many people will not like. I do not mind actually, and I'm glad that they put this one instead of, let's say, an NH35 or even an NH38. And then there's the second hand. I'm not a real fan of that ring as a counterbalance, but hey, that is a taste thing. It is a signature of the brand, and I am sure that many of you guys will enjoy it. But apart from that, this is a very well made watch. You will not believe that it costs what it costs once you have it on hand, especially when you check that case or workmanship. A very nice effort. Best of luck with the campaign, James and Gary. Thank you guys so much, and I'll be seeing you very soon. Goodbye.